Hello, everyone. First of all, happy New Year. We know that it's already January 18th, which is crazy, but this is our New Year series, so we want to kick it off by wishing you a very happy New Year and welcome to 2022. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the third event in our New Year's series, the Healthy Cooking Class. We have one more event in the series after tonight, and that is going to be focused on healing and hope. That is next Tuesday evening. And if you missed the two first events of the series, Financial Health and Goals and Movement is Medicine, they are available on our YouTube channel, so it's not too late. You can still go take part in those. I want to take a quick moment to thank all of our members this evening. Membership makes events like these possible, as well as all of our in-person events and programs are thanks to our loyal and very wonderful members. So all of our members out there, thank you so much. If you're already a member, you should have received your exclusive 2022 member calendar in the mail. But if you're not a member, it's not too late to receive one. You can join in the month of January, and one of these calendars will be sent to you. There's a QR code on the screen that you can use. We would love to take a moment to get to know all of you a little bit better. So if you could just take a moment to put in the comments where you're watching from, your name, and if you're an alum, what year you graduated. We know it's a little bit hard in the virtual space, but we want to do as much as we can to know who's joining us this evening. Wherever you're tuning in from, we are so glad that you are here. In just a moment, I will be adding some information to the comment section, like links to our mobile app, our YouTube channel, where you can learn more about membership and our events calendar. So keep an eye out for that in just a moment. I'll also be linking to our New Year's series events and resources that we compiled to help you kick off 2022 in the best way possible. So keep your eye on the comments shortly, and I will be putting all of that information there. This event will be available on our YouTube channel immediately following. And so if you want to go back and reference it or you missed something, it's going to be available for you. Feel free to share it with your friends and family as well. And the one other thing that I'll be popping in the comments as soon as I'm done here is the packet for this evening. You should have received it from me via email, but just in case you didn't, it has all of the recipes and supplies and instructions, so you'll be able to grab that from the comments as well. Okay, that is all from me. I'm now going to turn things over to the Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center and our instructors, Nancy and Katie.
Hi everyone, my name is Nancy Ganem. I'm the graduate teaching assistant for the Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center, and we are happy to be cooking with you tonight. And here Katie is going to be cooking with me tonight as well.
Hi, I'm Katie Fisher, and I'm the dietetic intern with the Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center.
Awesome. Alrighty, so before we get started, just please make sure that you wash your hands thoroughly with warm water and soap. And if you have long hair, please tie it back as well, just so the hair doesn't get in your food. And also quickly, before we start, the order of the recipes are going to be the falafel, and then tzatziki sauce, and then we're going to be doing the truffles, and then after that, we're going to be doing the Greek salad and the couscous salad as well. So if you're choosing to cook along with us tonight, please make sure to review the participant packet that Dakota is about to send in the comments, where we ask that you already preheat the oven to 375 degrees so that it's ready for the falafel, and also to have washed and drained your chickpeas. But if you haven't, no worries. You can always just try to tag along as we go through it. Just a quick remark is that the cooking class tonight is going to be a little bit fast-paced because we go through 5 recipes in an hour and a half. So we just want to make sure that you stay on track. But unfortunately, if you don't, the cooking class is going to be recorded, so you can always go back and rewatch it and also do the recipes at another time. With that being said, we're going to get started with the first recipe for tonight, which is going to be the falafel, and Katie will take it over from here for the next 3 recipes, and then I'll see you after the 3 recipes are over.
I'm actually going to change that up. We're going to start with the fig truffles just so we can put them in the freezer, and then we can put chocolate on them afterwards. So to get started, I wanted to give you a just brief overview of tonight's theme, which is probiotics and prebiotics, or a healthy gut for a happy new year. Probiotics are active bacteria that are in food products that are beneficial for our gut. And then the prebiotics are the food for probiotics, which is usually fiber. So in the fig truffles, figs originate from Western Asia, and they spread out through the Mediterranean area. They're also very rich in fiber, both soluble and insoluble fiber, if you've heard of those. Soluble fiber is the fiber that absorbs water in your digestive tract, and it creates a gel-like substance. And that is the fiber that's associated with decreasing your LDL or your bad cholesterol. And then insoluble fiber is the type of fiber that creates bulk to improve motility in our digestive tract. So to get started, if you take your food processor or the dish from your food processor, if I can open it up. Okay. And we're just going to add the ingredients in. So I have my 1 cup of figs, dried figs. I have my cocoa powder measured out, my 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, and I put the salt in there as well. So I'm going to sprinkle that in. Then I have my olive oil, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then the peppermint extract on top. We're going to leave the water out for now because we'll add the water in as we need it in the processing stage. So if I put that on my processor. And then pulse. Oh, my blade is not on right. Nancy, do you know how to work this?
Actually, I can figure it out. So what is this? Okay.
We have to get this out. There we go.
I think you can do it that way.
And then it has to click.
I think the blade is on right. You can move on if you want, and then I can try to
So once you've got it processed a little bit, you can start to add some water to create that sticky consistency. So I'm going to add about half the water, or half of that 1/8 cup. And then process it again. And then everyone's might be just different, but mine needs the rest of the water, so I'm going to pour that back in. All the ingredients in your food processor might start to go around in a ball together, and that's perfectly fine. That'll actually tell you that it's almost done. And then we're going to take this off. I'm going to use a spoon to scoop it out and kind of roll it with my hand to create balls as I put them on my plate. So it's recommended that individuals get about 25 to 35 grams of fiber each day. And 2 truffles is about 7 grams of fiber, which is 23% of your daily intake of fiber. And these truffles do have peppermint in them. And peppermint oil or extract lowers or decreases relaxes the lower esophageal sphincter, or that connection between your esophagus and your stomach. So if GERD is an issue, peppermint extract will relax that and actually could make your GERD worse, or make heartburn worse. So if peppermint oil does not agree with you, you can use other extracts like vanilla, chocolate. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands really quick and then we'll put these in the freezer. We'll save the chocolate chips for a little bit later when we coat them so that we don't melt it and then the chocolate gets hard again. And depending on how big or small you made the truffles, you might have got 8 out of them, you might have got 6, and that's okay. All right, so we'll switch gears to the falafel. The falafel also uses a food processor, so if you only have one food processor, you can go ahead and wash that now. I'll grab the other one we have. Yep. And this is another recipe where we'll kind of just be dumping everything into the food processor and then blending it together. So we'll start with the chickpeas. You should have drained and rinsed your chickpeas before class. If you did not do that, you can do it now. So we'll add those in. And then we're going to chop our onion. I'm going to move this to the side. So I first go by chopping one of the ends off and then cutting it in half. That makes it easier to get all the skins off. Go ahead and peel your skins off and throw them in the garbage. A quarter cup of onion will vary depending on how large your onion is. Mine's a pretty small onion, so I think a quarter cup for me would be about half. Since the onion in the falafel is being processed in, it doesn't have to be chopped perfectly. I'm just going to do a rough dice with my onion. So holding it down, trying to keep my fingers out of the way, I'm going to cut along the lines of my onion. Kind of angling my knife with the direction that the onion goes. And then turning it sideways and just chopping down. And toss your onion into the food processor. And I'll set the rest of that aside. Then we're going to add in our spices. So I have a mixture of the cumin, the coriander. I added the salt in here as well as the cayenne pepper. Sprinkle that around. Add in our olive oil. and then 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. Then we can take our 2 cloves of garlic and add those in as well. It calls for minced garlic. So what I'm going to do is smash it with my knife to get the skin off and peel that off. And then you can either you can mince garlic with your knife, or you can just use the smallest side of a grater and grate that right in. I'm going to add my other clove in. And again, this doesn't have to be exact because it is being all blended together, so if you have larger chunks in there, that's okay. All right, after that, I'm going to add in my fresh parsley. And then put the lid on and we'll blend that together. Traditionally, falafel is made with dried chickpeas that are soaked in water overnight. It creates a little bit coarser of a texture. Since we're using canned chickpeas, if you food process it too long, it'll turn into hummus, which is just pureed chickpeas. So you want to keep a close eye on that so they don't get too processed. I think it's the blade. I always have problems with food processors.
Oh, they're very hard to like figure out. Do you want to like maybe?
It just has to be smashed. There you go. Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, of course. Well, if anybody knows what we're doing wrong, feel free to like comment, let us know. It would be nice.
I'm gonna have Nancy figure that out. We can switch over to the tzatziki sauce so she figures out how to get the food processor to work. So for our tzatziki sauce, we're gonna take a large bowl. We're going to add in a cup of yogurt, or 8 ounces of yogurt. And then we'll switch over to our cucumber. So if you want a smoother texture with your tzatziki sauce, you can cut it in half or quarter it and then scoop the seeds out, which is what I'm going to do. I won't, for my tzatziki sauce, I'm not going to grate it or take the skin off, but if you would like to, you can. So just cut it longwise down the middle, and then I'm going to take a spoon and just scoop those seeds out. I'm going to toss them in the garbage. The tzatziki sauce, because it's made with Greek yogurt, has probiotics in it, so that Greek yogurt has active bacteria in it that's good for your gut, good for gut health. I'm going to go ahead and shred my cucumber onto a plate that has a paper towel on it, just so we can get some of the moisture out of the cucumber after I grate it. Another great thing about Greek yogurt is that it has a lot of calcium in it. It's recommended that people get about 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day. And Greek yogurt has, I believe, 13% of your daily value of calcium. So that was a quarter. I'm going to take the other quarter and do the same thing. Just grate it onto my paper towel. They have different bases, I think. I use the other base.
Maybe.
Let's see.
I don't think the base is
Use
really
Yeah, the other base is different.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe that's why.
All right, so when you're done with grating your cucumber, you can go ahead and wrap the cucumber in your paper towel and squeeze out the water. And go ahead and add that cucumber into your yogurt. This also has a clove of garlic in it, and since I showed you guys how to mince garlic with a grater, I'm going to show you how to do it by a knife this time. So you're going to, kind of like your onion, you're going to go in the direction that the garlic goes, so making small cuts close together. Sometimes mincing garlic can be hard with a knife because it's so tiny and you don't want your fingers to get in the way. So I'm going to go in both directions. And then like the onion, just go down, this time keeping my knife cuts a little closer together to create smaller, like a smaller dice. And then my dices are a little big still, so I'm going to go and just hold the tip of the knife and go back and forth, cutting it a little bit smaller. Add your garlic into the bowl with your yogurt and your cucumber. And then last but not least, I have my olive oil in here with the red wine vinegar. Go ahead and pour that on top, and then you're going to mix it all together.
How did you make it work the first time? Let me go check the comments section. Maybe somebody commented.
All right, so we're going to just set that aside, or you can put it in the fridge until your falafel is done.
Really?
Hmm?
No one commented. Do you want to maybe give it a try again? I mean, you did it the first time. I don't know.
Oh, I did it with this one. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so with the falafel, we can go back to that. If you have all your ingredients in your food processor, you can just pulse it until it creates a ground up texture, making sure not to make it too smooth. And then after you've done that, you can take your container off the food processor and you can go ahead and add in your oat flour and your baking soda, and you can mix it all together. If you don't have oat flour, you can always use oats and then process them to make your oat flour. And then once everything is combined, you can, just like we did with the falafels, you can scoop it out and plop it onto a baking dish, a sprayed baking dish with olive oil if you have one. You can put parchment paper on it. If you want to create like messier balls, you can just scoop it and plop it down, or you can roll them into create more formed balls.
I think we can try the blender. Maybe do it in like small patches instead of adding the whole thing at one time. Do you want to try that instead?
Sure.
Okay.
We're gonna switch gears and try to use a blender instead of the food processor. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm really clueless as to what's going on here, but we can get it set up over here.
If you have a lot of things on your workspace, you can go ahead and clear those off if you've already used, if you're done with the dishes that you've used. Okay.
Let's try. Maybe actually I think it might be the outlet not working. Let me see real quick.
Did that one not start?
I don't know. Let me check the laptop. The laptop will tell us. Nope, it's working. Okay. No, it just, I also have like some trouble making this one work because it has to be like put a certain way or something.
That's okay, I can play with it while you do your recipes. So if you have your falafel balls rolled out, you can go ahead and pop them in the oven. We're gonna set a timer for 10 minutes and then check on them after 10. And I'll set one too and remind everybody when 10 minutes is up. We'll go ahead and rotate the balls after those 10 minutes. That's okay, Nancy, I'll tell you.
Okay, it just has to be like put like a certain direction. I'm guessing it's this direction, but I don't know why it's not.
That's okay.
Going over.
All right, now we're gonna go back to our truffles. So go ahead and take those out of the freezer or the fridge. And then you can take your dark chocolate chips and we're gonna microwave them for 30-second increments until they're completely melted.
Okay, it's working now.
All right, after every 30 seconds, go ahead and take your chocolate chips out and mix them. Definitely need longer.
Let me just take a little bit out, just so we don't crowd it. Because you said like
I think it should be okay.
it should be okay.
Yeah. I thought you meant to go tall, thin, longer.
Cool. So whenever you're ready, this is ready to go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And you can also take your time. We're not in a rush.
My chocolate needs maybe about 30 more seconds. can do this one of two ways. You can either drizzle it on top if yours is smooth enough, or you can dip your falafels and then put them back onto the plate. So I'm going to toss it in and kind of roll it around in the chocolate with my spoon. And then put them back on the plate. You might not use all the chocolate, and that's okay. Perfect. And then you can pop those in the fridge to let the chocolate harden on the truffles. And then I'm going to switch back to our falafels on this side. If you put yours in the oven, you can just leave them still cooking. Okay, might need a little bit longer. Maybe scrape down the side so that the bottom doesn't get creamy and the top stays crumbly. Okay. As I mentioned before, I'm going to take my oat flour and pour that in and put the baking soda in as well. Mix that around to combine it. Trying to make sure there's no dry spots of oat flour because that can cause them to crumble. And then I'm going to take a spoon and scoop those onto my baking sheet. Falafel is traditionally from Egypt, made with fava beans, which are similar to lima beans but don't have the same makeup, but they have the look of a lima bean. And then as the recipe moved throughout the Middle East, it started to be made with chickpeas, and then people liked the falafel made with chickpeas instead, and so they stuck to that recipe. It's a traditional street food in the Mediterranean area, and usually falafel is fried and not baked, but we're going to bake it today. Okay, I'm going to toss those in the oven. And then I'm going to switch gears, and Nancy is going to show you guys how to make the couscous salad and the Greek salad.
So I'm just gonna wash my hands really quick. Do you want to help me get my stuff set up first? Awesome. So now we're shifting gears to making the salads for tonight's class. We're going to be making the couscous salad, and we're also going to be making the Greek salad. Ooh, we got a timer going back here. So first thing I'm going to do is just get my station set up over here. And then I'm going to plug this.
If you put your falafel in when I set the timer the first time, you can go ahead and check them and maybe rotate them if you would like. If you put them in at the same time I did after our technical difficulties with the blender, then we still got about 10 minutes. Anything else?
I think I messed up over there. Great.
Yeah.
So tonight's cooking class is so full of veggies, which is awesome because the kitchen tonight here smells so good from like all the veggies that we're using. We're using fresh parsley, we're using arugula, we're using green onions, we're using tons of herbs and different seasonings, and everything just smells so good. Especially the cumin smells really good. Alrighty, so I got everything here set up for the couscous salad and the Greek salad. So the first thing we're going to start with is going to be the couscous salad. So for the ingredients, we have 1 cup dry couscous, and what I bought was the instant to cook couscous. And basically what I'm going to do with you right now is just follow the directions on the package of how to cook it. So I basically put the ingredients or unpackaged the couscous from the packaging and put it in this bowl right here. And there's about 1 cup dry couscous in this one packet. So that's all you should need for tonight recipes to yield the 4 servings for the couscous salad. I'm just gonna make some way here for my bowl or my I'm really spacing out on the name. Saucepan. There we go. Alrighty, and then I'm gonna turn on the heat to like medium low, about a 6, specifically according to my stove's degrees. And the next thing I'm going to do according to the package here, and that might be different than what your package says, so I would just follow what your package is saying, is that I'm going to add a 1 cup and 3/4 cup of water, so 1 3/4 cups of water to my saucepan. And I'm going to add, again, I'm just following directions here, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. 1 tablespoon olive oil. And I'm going to add my couscous right here, the 1 cup dry couscous. And I'm going to bring that to a boil. So to speed up the process a little bit, I'm going to put my lid on the saucepan just so it cooks a little bit, or comes to a boil a little bit faster than just having it without the lid on. And that's it for the quick couscous. You also do have this packet inside because mine is actually flavored with roasted garlic and olive oil. So if at the store you can't just find like plain couscous that's instant that you can just cook, you can always just buy something that has those flavors, because they always package the flavors in different packaging. So it's not always just going to be mixed with a dry couscous, so you don't necessarily have to cook it and then get the result of having roasted garlic and olive oil couscous, which I'm not going to be using tonight because we only just need the plain couscous because we're only going to be making our own dressing, and that's all that we need. So the next thing I'm going to be moving to is chopping my salad ingredients. So for the salad tonight, I need 2 green onions. I need a 1/3 of a cup cherry tomatoes. I have it right here. And I need half bell pepper. You can use any color you want. I got green bell pepper for my recipe tonight. You can use yellow, you can use red. And then I'm going to half that with you, not use the whole thing, or I might, because, you know, it's bell peppers. I can eat as much as I want, and I really love them, so I might actually use the whole thing. And that's another thing, actually, that's one point I want to make, is that you can substitute any of these ingredients to make your own salad. For example, if you don't like the bell peppers, you can use another vegetable that you want to add, and you can even use a quarter bell pepper if you want less of those bell peppers in your recipe, or you can use more. Like, for example, me, I'm going to use the whole bell pepper. And then I need half a cup feta cheese, which I'm going to grab from the fridge. Here's my half cup feta cheese. And I'm going to need a 1/4 cup arugula, which I have over here. I have a little bit over 1/4 cup because I also love arugula. So I'm using about 1 cup or maybe 3/4 of a cup of arugula, which is something that I want more of in my salad tonight. So that's totally fine if you want to up your ingredients or the amount of your ingredients, or even cut them out or substitute them with something else. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut my green onions, and please make sure you've washed all your vegetables for tonight before you start cutting them and incorporating them into your salad. So that being said, I'm going to start cutting my green onions, and I'm going to cut them into small circular rings. So what I'm going to do is just line them together on the same sort of alignment, if that makes sense. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cut through it. And the thickness of your onion is totally up to you. I usually like to make it, you know, not too thin, but not also a big chunk, because I like to not really have to chew on them for too long when they're in my salad. And they also look nicer when they're a little bit smaller. Alrighty. Here is, well, that definitely came to a boil. So the next step is to reduce heat to medium. So I'm going to first reduce my heat to maybe like a 2, which is like really low. And I'm going to bring it on the stove again. Let me just turn on my fan. I don't want it to get too smoky in here. And I'm going to turn it even lower because it's still rising really high. It might overflow again. So I'm going to bring it down to just like the lowest thing I have on my stove. Hopefully it wouldn't overflow. It is going to overflow again. Let's see, maybe taking up the lid. Okay, that helped. And then we are going to let it simmer for 8 minutes uncovered. And then we're just going to stir occasionally. So I haven't stirred anything since this started, so I'm just going to give it a quick stir to begin with. And then we're going to let it simmer for 8 minutes. Cool, going back to my chopping over here, I have a big bowl, which is this bowl right here. And first thing I'm going to do is just add my green onions that I just chopped to the bowl without knocking anything over. Alrighty. And then the next thing I'm going to chop is my cherry tomatoes. So you can totally eat those the way that they are, or you can half them. I just want to half them because everything else in my salad is going to be tiny, so I don't want to be, chewing on that big cherry tomato when everything else is a little bit smaller. But you can totally leave them the way that they are already. And you could also make this salad if you're in a rush, you can just totally leave them without having them. So it's totally your call about how you want to go about your cherry tomatoes. But I only have 1/3 of a cup, so it's not too many tomatoes. So it's totally doable for me. But if I have like 1 cup of cherry tomatoes, I actually think I might go with leaving them full because that's way too many cherry tomatoes to cut. So couscous has, oops, we got another timer going off here.
That's for the falafel.
Okay, so that's the falafel timer. So if you put your falafel in the oven, when Katie put the falafel in the oven, then it's time to take it out.
We're just going to rotate them and then pop them back in for another 10 minutes.
Yep, time to take them out and then put them back in after you flip them. Great, so I'm done with my cherry tomatoes, and then now I'm going to move on to my bell pepper. So here again I have my green bell pepper, and I'm going to first start by cutting around the core of the bell pepper is the best way to really cut the bell pepper and to avoid those little seeds of going into your salad. There's nothing wrong with having the seeds in your salad. They're not harmful or they're not tasty. I just don't want them in my salad. So the best way again to just cut around that core, because that core is where most of those seeds are. And I guess there isn't a way to really avoid having them get dispersed everywhere. So okay, so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to cut my bell pepper. And again, I just got some of the core come into the pieces that I sliced around it. So I'm just going to take them off. I'm just going to get rid of the whole thing. Okay. And then we're just dicing them, so you can just cut them however small or whatever size you want. I'm just not going to go for a specific shape exactly when I'm cutting my bell peppers. I'm just going to, randomly just cut them into maybe like 1/4 inch sizes. You can even slice them if you want. So I'm just cutting them into an edible, size. Bite size, I guess, would be a good way to describe what I'm doing right now. So again, it could be like something around that size. Now I have my bell peppers ready. I'm just going to toss them in the bowl. And again, if you get those seeds, there's no problem with, eating them whatsoever. So you don't have to try to avoid them or, it's totally fine if they become into your salad or be part of your salad as well. Next thing is the 1/2 cup feta cheese, which I don't need to chop. That's already right here. And then the arugula as well. I'm not going to chop my arugula. I'm just going to eat it the way it is. It's, nice and soft, and you could just, eat it in bite sizes if you just, get it to fit in your fork. So I'm just going to add it to my bowl right away. And then right now we're going to make the dressing. So let's see. So we're also going to be mixing the dressing right in the same bowl that we just put. Oh, that's good. I'm just going to use it right here. Thanks, Belle. So for the dressing, we have 1/2 teaspoon dry basil. We have 1/2 teaspoon dry oregano. We have 1/2 lemon juiced. And then we have 3 tablespoons olive oil, 1 tablespoon apple cider vinegar, and 1/4 teaspoon salt, and 1/4 teaspoon ground black pepper. So first, I have my dry ingredients or the spices over here. Again, I just said what they are, so I'm just going to sprinkle them all over my greens or my vegetables. And then I'm going to squeeze the 1/2 lemon to get the juice out of it. In 1/2 a lemon, I want to say it's about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So if you just have straight up those concentrated lemon juice, you can totally just use 2 tablespoons of that instead of having, to squeeze the actual lemon to get the juice out of it. And then the next thing I have is 3 tablespoons of olive oil, which I'm just going to sprinkle again over here, and then the 1 tablespoon apple cider vinegar. And then I already put my salt and my pepper when I added everything else in here with the spices. So what I'm going to do now is just give it a quick mix. And let's actually not forget about our feta cheese. So one thing that the recipe says is that if you're not going to be immediately eating or serving your salad, then hold off on adding the arugula until it's ready to be eaten. And I think the logic behind that is that it might get a little bit too soggy from the dressing, that if it sits in the fridge for like an hour or two, it's not going to be as, looking as pleasant and as fresh as it would if you just serve it immediately after adding that dressing to it. So it's just something to keep in mind. I'm going to be eating my salad right after the class is over tonight, so I totally am fine with just adding the arugula just like I did. So the one thing that we're waiting for now is the couscous to get ready. We have about an extra minute or two before it should be cooked. And in that 1 minute or two, I'm going to give you a brief background information about couscous, because we all love couscous, and it actually originated in North Africa, specifically Morocco. And it's also eaten in other North African countries, like Algeria, like Tunisia, and it's also eaten in Egypt and other Mediterranean countries like Greece, and other countries as well in the region. And it contains many nutrients, just like a lot of the ingredients that we're using in tonight's class. It includes antioxidants, which help boost your immune system, which is something that we all need, especially in those times that we're going through right now globally. It also contains potassium, which is a very important mineral that has critical functions in the human body, one of which is like the regulation of the heart. And a little bit more about couscous. It's specifically, because I personally didn't know what couscous was. I knew it was sort of like a traditional dish somewhere in Morocco, but I wasn't really sure what it was made up of. So it's actually made up of durum wheat semolina, and then it's formed into small granules or spheres. That's why it has this like circular or spherical shape, which is super cool. I haven't seen anything like it before. It's quite distinct in its shape, and also its flavor. It's very neutral, and that's why you can have it as a side dish, or you can even serve it with stews or braises. What else? So you can also cook, or you can also get from the store non-instant couscous and just make it at home. It's just going to be a little bit more lengthy than just obviously getting the instant version. But then you're also going to be using a steamer basket or a tagine to be able to cook raw couscous that is not instant. So that's something to keep in mind if you just want to go for the non-instant version. And to align with tonight's cooking class theme, which is a healthy gut, couscous is a great prebiotic. And just like Katie explained, the prebiotic is the food for the bacteria that lives in our gut. So that's very important, because the bacteria that lives in our gut, in order to thrive and to function properly, it needs food, which is prebiotics, which couscous is one really good source of being a prebiotic. Let me read here. Alrighty, so we actually have about 4 to 6 more minutes of cooking the couscous, and that's because at this point, according to my package, we would be adding, those spices that came in the package, but we're not going to be doing that. Or if you want, please feel free to do that. I'm going to have, enough flavor in my salad tonight because of the dressing that we just made together. So what I'm going to do now is bring it up to a boil, a medium boil. So I'm gonna bring it to like maybe about a 4. So hopefully it starts to boil, and then I'm gonna let it cook for 4 to 6 minutes once it comes to a boil. And then again, give it that occasional stir every now and then just to make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. Or if you need to add your water, if that happens, add more water if it starts sticking to the bottom, because that means there's not enough fluid in your saucepan. So for now, I'm just gonna put my couscous salad or the other ingredients for my couscous salad on the side, and I'm actually gonna be shifting gears to our next recipe here, which is going to be the Greek salad. Let's see. So I'm actually going to be using the same cutting board, so I'm all set to go. So for my Greek salad, first we're going to start with chopping our ingredients. So the ingredients that we have here, the first thing is 1 head of romaine lettuce. So I'm just going to get this out. And here's how I like to do it. I just like to take it off from the base of the actual head, and just kind of combine them together. And you can either use your hands to cut the romaine lettuce, or you could actually like chop it with a knife. I'm just gonna be using my hands to cut this because it's super easy to just do it with your hands. There's no resistance or major effort that you need to expend just to cut the leaves apart. And again, I'm just cutting them into biteable or bite-sized pieces. Nice, coming to a boil here. So I'm bringing the heat down a little on my couscous, and I might actually add like a tablespoon of water just because it's starting to stick a little bit to the bottom of the saucepan, but not too much water because you don't want to leave it on there forever until the water boils so you can eat it. So just the 1 tablespoon should be enough to kind of give enough fluid so it wouldn't stick to the bottom. Just going to continue over here. So the Greek salad that we're making today is one of the most popular salads in Greece and Cyprus. It's usually or typically most popular in the summer months. So I cut my romaine lettuce. The next thing is the red onion. Red onions are amazing in salads. I love red onions. They just add a great flavor when you eat them raw, especially when you eat them in something like a Mediterranean salad where you have the feta cheese, you have the olives, you have the dressing. It just tastes really delicious. So instead of using a quarter red onion, I'm actually going to be using a whole onion just because, again, I just really love onions. Just like I love arugula and a whole bunch of other stuff. So what I did is that I cut it, I guess that's lengthwise, just like, or not really lengthwise, horizontally maybe. I really don't know what to call this. You just cut it from the inside, and then after that you cut it lengthwise, just like that. And please be careful not to cut your fingers. It's really easy to accidentally nick or cut your fingers, so just please be careful. And the way I like to do so is by tucking in the knuckles of my fingers, and that it's in a shape that's almost like a bear claw position. So that way, even if the knife accidentally touches my hand, it's not really cutting my tip. So yeah, and then I cut it. And then again, my onions, I like them to be really tiny in my salad. So again, it doesn't have to be a specific shape, but if you want, you can actually slice them. Slicing your onions or sliced onions are really good in salads because they look very presentable, and they're still quite easily to bite on and eat. but I'm cutting mine in this shape, which is like diced onion. And then I'm gonna reach for my other half. Same thing, just cut from the inside. Oops. And then give it a longitudinal cut as well, or lengthwise, and then you just, oops, that was weird, and then you just cut. Alrighty, we're done with the onions, and then the next thing we have on the ingredient list is so we have our third cup of olives right here, which we don't need to slice. I got mine already without the pit on the inside, and it's already halved or even maybe quartered naturally, like not naturally, but it was in the package that I bought it, so I don't need to do more to it. So I'm just going to put it on the side for now. And then the next thing we have is our cucumber. So if you don't like the peel of the cucumber, which is actually very rich in fiber and rich in other nutrients, which is really beneficial for your gut health and also your overall health, what you can do is just get a peeler and peel the skin off. The other thing you can do is that you can make it look nice and just peel one side and leave the other side, if that makes sense. Let's say you would just peel one side, rotate it, peel the other side, rotate it, peel the one side, rotate it, peel that one side. And what basically, essentially, you end up with is a cucumber that looks like dark green and light green. So it looks more, I guess, presentable or different than the regular cucumber that you would, just get if you leave the skin on. And then you still get the benefit of the actual the skin as well. So what I did is that I halved my cucumbers, and then what I'm going to do next is halve them one more time. And then I'm just going to bring the two halves together, and then I'm just going to cut it. That's a very, very easy way to do it. And then if you are, cutting from a whole cucumber, I would not, forget to cut the ends of the cucumbers. We've already done that. And plus I was using half of the cucumber, so I didn't have to cut the end at the top. Just making sure my couscous here. Okay, and then, I have more lettuce here. Let me grab that. All right, the next thing we have is the cherry tomatoes, and it's actually 1 cup of cherry tomatoes, so I'm not gonna have the cherry tomatoes in this specific example. I'm just gonna toss it on there, just again because it's a lot of cherry tomatoes to have. Maybe I would do that on my, my own time if I'm, not confined to an hour and a half for tonight's class. And then we also have 1/3 of a cup of feta cheese. I'm going to grab that from the fridge. Oops. And then also my mayonnaise. Mayo. So there is that. So all these were the base, like the salad ingredients. Okay, I'm going to be adding the olives and the feta cheese. And in another, where is it? Right here. Well, it says in a jar, but I don't have a mason jar. So a mason jar is an amazing thing to use to mix salad dressings because it's just super easily, it's just super convenient where you mix or you just pour everything in the mason jar and you close the lid and you just shake it. So I'm just using a Tupperware here, and it's going to do the same purpose just as a mason jar. So for our dressing, we have 1/4 cup olive oil, which I have right here. And then I have 2 garlic cloves. So I'm going to show you a different way to cut the garlic clove other than like mincing, just like Katie showed us, or excuse me, grating. First thing you want to do is you make sure you have a really thick knife blade. And when I say a really thick or wide knife blade, is that the main purpose of that is to prevent your palm, once you use your palm, to hit the knife blade. So again, you place the thickest part of the blade on the garlic, and using the palm of your hand, you just crush it. So again, this makes it super easy to peel the skin off, just like you see over here. And then you're just left with the actual garlic. Ooh. Okay. Again, just make sure that the knife blade is thick enough, because you could easily cut yourself and it's not going to be a fun thing. So this one is a little bit sticky, so the skin is a little hard to get off, but I think I got all the skin off. What I'm going to do next is I'm just going to mince my garlic. Just going to take it, collect it, and you want it to be nice and small because you're making a dressing, so you don't want to be chewing on the garlic in your salad or your dressing. And then the next thing we have here is the 1 tablespoon lemon juice, and I'm actually just using a tablespoon of lemon juice. So I'm just going to add this over here. And then we have ½ teaspoon of Dijon mustard. So I'm going to actually get a spatula real quick. And then add my Dijon mustard, and then add my mayo as well, and then adding my red wine vinegar. Oh, right here. So I mixed my red wine vinegar with the rest of the spices for that dressing. So I have salt, Italian seasoning, and ground pepper right here. So I'm just adding everything together. I'm just going to give it a quick mix. The mayo is a little bit clumpy, so maybe I'm going to need a whisk, but let's see. Let's just first seal this real nice and tight so nothing comes out. And just really, really mix it. Shake it. That. Okay, let's see. Ooh, looks great, actually. It's amazing dressing. The consistency is amazing. I don't know if you can tell, but it's perfect. So this is done over here. And my couscous is also done, so I'm going to turn off the heat. And then I'm just going to finish the Greek salad first before shifting back to the couscous salad. So in a large bowl, we've already mixed all of our veggies, and then in a jar we've shaked our dressing, and then now the last and final step is to drizzle your dressing over the salad. Just like that. And just like we have tossed the other salad to make sure it's nice and incorporated, we're also going to do the same thing over here. Mix it together. So Katie has actually taken out the falafel a while back, so I hope that, after you've turned it and put it back in the initial time, you were able to remember to take it out because it was ready to eat. I never really liked falafel growing up, but when I grew up and tasted them again, I actually fell in love all over with the falafel. It's such a nutritious dish, and It's very easy to make. All you have to do is just, get a blender like we showed today, which actually that one technical error showed that we can use a blender to blend or to make our, paste for the falafel. And that was really interesting because I personally, like, one thing that stood in the way for me to make falafel is that I thought I always needed a food processor, but today, just like we saw, you can always make it in a blender. And it's very fascinating how it originated in Egypt, and it was, just like Katie said, was made, or it still is made, with the fava beans. But then when trade, or the world trade, was introduced, like, I guess hundreds of years ago, the falafel traveled along with the other stuff that was exported to other countries around the region or around Egypt, and was actually introduced to those other countries. And then chickpeas was then substituted to make the falafel instead of the fava beans, because fava beans is a native to Egypt. It's native to that region. So it's very hard to like get fava beans in those other countries around Egypt. And that's why now, for instance, the theme of the cooking class tonight is Mediterranean, and we're making Greek salad. So, for example, in Greece, did you use the chickpeas to make the falafel? And that's mainly because the chickpeas are the most dominant or prominent sort of ingredient that they have. But till this day in Egypt, they also still make their own version, which is the original version of the falafel, and they make it with the fava beans. And it tastes completely different, actually, than the falafel that's made with the chickpeas, because the chickpeas, or the fava beans, is the main ingredient of that dish. So you can imagine how different the taste would be. So going back to the Greek salad really quick before we wrap it up here, we have all of our ingredients mixed over here. In terms of the salad ingredients, the next thing we have to do is just add the couscous to the salad that we have, or the veggies that we have chopped. Perfect. And just a reminder, we've already made the dressing for the salad, and the dressing has already been poured over the ingredients. Oops, I always struggle with this tongue. So the next thing we do, and the final thing to do for the couscous salad, is to just mix it together so that all of the ingredients are well incorporated, and the dressing is covering all of the foods we have in that dish tonight, so you can enjoy it. So the dish can also can be eaten hot, just like we would eat it right now, because we would serve it immediately. But then it could also, be kept in the fridge. And again, don't add the dressing until you're ready to eat it. So you can just make the couscous, cut the veggies, mix them together, put that in the fridge an hour or two, and then take it out. So you can eat it cold, and then drizzle the dressing, mix it, and then you got your dish or your salad also cold. So it can be eaten both ways, hot or cold. So that's all that I have for you in terms of the recipes for tonight. So before we wrap up and let you go, we're just going to display the ingredients, or excuse me, the dishes that we made out in the front here, so that we can all take a good look on the delicious, easy recipes and nutritious recipes that we made tonight, that were, again, fairly quick. So, you can add pita bread to this, menu right here, and you can add the falafel. You can stuff them in the pita bread and add the tzatziki sauce on top of it, inside the pita bread. Thank you. Or another thing you could make is that you could actually just take the falafel and eat them without the bread, and just dip them in the tzatziki sauce and have your salad, or both salads, as your side dishes. And then obviously we have the truffle here as our dessert for tonight. So it's a full meal, full course meal, and it's really delicious. I personally can't wait to start eating myself. So yeah. Cool.
Thank you. you both so much. I've been keeping my eye on the comments and we haven't had questions come in, so I think we're good to go. If we do get any questions, I'll forward those your way, but I think everyone is set to go. We do have one comment I want to share with you. Susan just wanted to say that she loves hearing the nutritional value of the ingredients and how the recipes evolved over time when you were talking about falafel. So just good feedback to share. Thank you, Susan. We're so glad that you're here and that you're enjoying it. Thank you so much, Nancy and Katie, for your time. We really appreciate it. As always, just a reminder to all of our attendees that you can rewatch this on YouTube or share it with your friends and family. That packet is still linked in the comments and should be in your inbox, so you can make all of these recipes later. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful Tuesday evening.
Bye. Thank you.